The Rojava Revolution started in North and East Syria in the early 2010s. The revolution promotes democratic confederalism, a form of libertarian socialism based on decentralized stateless governance, gender equality, cooperative labor, ecology, and direct democracy. The Rojava Center for Democratic Technologies is a fluid collective of artists and engineers based in the autonomous administration of North and East Syria. Drawing from the principles of the revolution, we develop technologies for a free society. By now, more than 10 years have passed since the beginning of the revolution, and the situation is difficult. Droughts caused by climate change and strategic disruption of water supply by the Turkish state destroy a large part of the harvests. Ongoing attacks by the Turkish military, army of the Syrian regime and the remaining Daesh cells make the restoration of war-damaged infrastructures for water and electricity very difficult. While engineers and artists elsewhere seem mostly preoccupied with artificial intelligence and extended reality, we started working on a less sexy, seemingly banal technology: a refrigerator. The commonplace, rectangular-shaped electric refrigerator with a vertical door, usually white or chrome-colored, is now sold almost anywhere in the world. The fridges on offer in Syria are near identical with the ones in the United States or China. While this standard device tends to be taken for granted as a neutral, mundane domestic appliance, both its technical and aesthetic characteristics are actually firmly embedded in the ideologies of global northern capitalist consumer culture. First of all, its energy and efficient design, for example the vertical door, presupposes the availability of abundant, continuous electricity. And secondly, the appearance of the object is consistent with typical US, American and European imaginaries of technological progress, for example the slick and light design of spaceship interiors that you often see in sci-fi movies. In the post-World War II era United States, modern kitchens, and the kitchens we know today are largely similar, aesthetically speaking, were even marketed in direct reference to US space exploration. When this hegemonic refrigerator is introduced in cultural spaces outside Europe and the US, it oftentimes starts to operate as a neo-colonial artifact. First of all, it requires a lot of electricity. This leads to a strong dependency on additional technological systems to generate this, as well as a need to obtain large amounts of foreign currencies to purchase these systems on the global market. Secondly, the aesthetic connection of this hegemonic fridge with the universalized narrative of progress promotes the idea that there is only one way to become modern, namely to become a European-style hyper-consumer. In other words, the seemingly mundane fridge manifests itself as a catalyst for an alienation process that negates its users' connections to the cultural and material dimensions of local experiences and heritages. In the autonomous administration of North and East Syria, electricity provision is poor due to war damage and scarcity of diesel, which is the primary fuel used to generate electric power. In many villages, the power grid only provides electricity a couple of hours a day at irregular times. The only possibility to run a European-style refrigerator, if you can even afford one, is to buy a large solar power system that costs the equivalent of a year's income, or even more. Especially during the extreme summer heat, sometimes it gets up to 50 degrees Celsius, the absence of adequate cooling systems has detrimental consequences for people's quality of life, as many foodstuffs cannot be preserved for more than a day. At the same time, during our field research, it became apparent that many people are not keen to explore alternative technologies that are associated with historical cooling and preservation methods. Any use of technology that falls outside the Euro-American vision of the future tends to be perceived as primitive and humiliating.
No game.
Revolution Refridge responds to both these aspects. It's an affordable, low-energy appliance that integrates historical technology while reframing this in an aesthetic of futurity rooted in local and regional cultures. Firstly, the device we are developing combines an historical vaporization-based cooling method with a bottom-end contemporary solar system. It's almost entirely built by local craftspeople, except for the solar panel then. 2 clay pots, made by a local potterer, are placed inside one another, separated by wet sand. The vaporization of the water extracts energy from the inside, which in turn causes a drop in temperature. Adding an electric Peltier cooling unit, powered by a small solar panel to this, temperatures as low as in a conventional mass-produced fridge can actually be achieved, but at a fraction of the cost, both in terms of money. The whole device will cost less than $50, hopefully even less, and carbon footprint. And secondly, through collaboration with a number of participants and potential users, including a regional poet and folklorist, local potterers, a metal worker, textile workers, visual artists, a car painting workshop, and others, a design emerged that takes its starting point from a fusion of sci-fi visions with local and regional heritage. The shape of the unit is conceived as a symbiosis of space exploration rockets and historical regional architecture, like the beehive houses that are known for their cooling qualities. The metal shell is handmade by a traditional metal worker in the souk of Qamishlo. The cooling unit and solar panel have subsequently been spray painted by a local car workshop in gold, connected to both traditional Kurdish jewelry and the circuits of high technology. The clay pots are covered with recycled parts of traditional floor carpets in collaboration with textile workers. We have now completed a prototype and taken it to villages in the Qamishlo canton region to discuss it with potential users. And now we're working on a second generation design, of which we're planning to distribute several units to families and villages for testing in the nearby future.
يعني شيء مطور يعني مو انه نقول والله قديم وما عاد يلزمنا، لا قديم وحديث يعني. وهلا فيكم كمان تشوفوا جواتها قديش بارده يعني كثير عم نجمد. هذا المشروع طبعا جديد عم نشتغل عندنا هالفكره هاي، حبينا نحكي لكم اياها وان شاء الله بس على الصيف يعني هلا الجو صار حلو يعني بالربيع ان شاء الله نرجع نجي ونفرجيكم انه شلون. هاي مبرد.
يلا نسي.
لا شوفوا المي كمان جواتها، شوفوا المي يعني مجمدين بون.
طاني زامن. ناون بيشامر نزار.
If you like, you can get in touch with us through the signal number on the screen, or you can follow our Telegram channel at Rojava Tech. Thank you.